So I had somebody ask about how the electric power steering pump worked over on TikTok, and I answered that. And I'm just going to share the same video over here too. So there it is. Well, I'm here for the update. We raced last night, and the electric power steering pump was less than stellar, okay? It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. It's just a little stiffer than what I want to do, and especially when we go to an enduro that I'm going to run 200 or 300 laps, 275 this next weekend. So I'm going to put the mechanical pump back on for now. We run third last night. Didn't have anything for the leader. I felt like my buddy Colton got second, and he drove a good race, but I probably could have raced with him a little better had we had good power steering and I was a little more confident in it. It was just a little slow, a little stiff. I feel like it's a volume issue, not a pressure issue, if that makes any sense. When you turn it, like, it doesn't bog the pump until you get on the lock and leave it, and then you can bog the pump down. So you know it'll bog, and but you don't, like, working it back and forth, you don't grunt it. It doesn't do that, but it's just got that little stiffer feel, and if you really rush it, it just doesn't want to do what you want to do all the time. That being said, another issue I had, the motor got a little bit warm at the end. That thing usually just stays dead ass down cool on the thermostat almost, and it didn't. And I think here's the reason why. I drew out some crude diagrams for you. So this is our old belt configuration with the mechanical power steering pump on it. And this is not the scale. This is trace and quarters and pennies. So the alternator pulley's smaller and the tensioner pulley's smaller, and whatever, you get it. But we cover over 180 degrees of our water pump with the belt with this configuration, this old configuration. And it goes across the top and it clears the intake. I will also add quickly that this stuff is all cut up and mounted where it doesn't belong. The power steering pump stock is down here. We cut it up, raised it up here. The alternator's got bracketry that I made, and it's got washers behind the tensioner, and it's just, we didn't throw any belts, and they all seem to run good, but it makes me nervous in my mind. And that's part of the reason that we moved over to this. The alternator's on the stock location mounted. We just cut the power steering mount off. The tensioner is on the stock location working the way it's supposed to. But herein lies what might be the problem. Now, we're swinging a big fan and pulling lots of air with it. It's a solid fan, and I do that so it will run cool. But we're covering less, and maybe even less than this. Like I said, this isn't to scale, where we were getting over 180 degrees of coverage with the belt, and the belt's on the slick side. We are getting less than that here, and maybe less than even what I show. So that's another consideration for what I have going on. We're just going to go back to this for the solo, and I may work at doing some other stuff with the electric pump later on these short races, but I'm not fighting it for 275 laps.